Republican senators are inching closer to the July 4th deadline to pass the big, beautiful reconciliation bill, and they've made great strides in advancing the bill, but they're hitting some roadblocks along the way. And as we heard earlier, the House is not sounding too receptive to what they're hearing from the Senate side. Joining us to talk about this, U.S. Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas. He's a member of 4 Senate committees, including the Finance Committee and the Budget Committee. Senator Marshall, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Tony, great to be with you. And I'm setting the over-under for Sunday at 10 a.m. for the Senate to get their job done. And so far, about half the senators are taking the over and half the under. Then we'll send it to the House. So don't give up on us yet.
All right. So you think you're going to have it done by Sunday?
I do. I think we do. Look, we're going to prevent the largest tax increase in American history. We're going to secure the border, take care of our military. How about a Golden Dome? When we saw what was happening in Israel and Iran, really great to have a Golden Dome. And by the way, one big winner in this, and you and I may have talked about this before, I think it's been 3 years since the Dobbs decision. We're going to defund Planned Parenthood. This will be the biggest win for your pro-life listeners since the Dobbs decision. So I'm very proud of the work we've done on this bill.
That has been something, I've been here for 22 years. That's something we've been working on during Republican administrations to try to get done for many years. And in fact, I recall working with Mike Pence when he was a congressman from Indiana working to defund Planned Parenthood, and we've never been able to get it across the line. So this is historic. And we're talking last year, $700 million that they received from taxpayers. So this is quite significant. But there were some provisions that the parliamentarian ruled that 12 parts of the bill must be removed or amended, this going through what's called the bird bath. What are the big changes that are being proposed by the parliamentarian?
Well, Tony, I think, first of all, we're not done yet. I think sometimes she rejects them, and then we go back and we're able to tweak them again. I think SNAP was one of the big ones. She didn't like some process. I don't know how we ever gave the parliamentarian so much power in Congress, but I don't want to give misinformation, and I'm still waiting to see it in writing as well. So hang in there with me, and I promise to come back and talk.
Well, I just said we had a member of the House on, Keith Self from Texas, on earlier. Just the House is getting a little antsy with some of the changes they're hearing. I know you're a conservative member of the Senate. Do you think conservatives and the House are going to be okay with what the Senate produces?
Well, look, I think there's so many benefits to this bill that we have to do it. Tony, I kind of talked about if we don't, this will be the largest tax increase in American history. This is worth $1,000 a month to hardworking, middle-income Americans. I think that alone is a reason to do it. Funding for four years of the border. It's not perfect, okay? I was hoping to get over $2 trillion of cuts, and this is what the conservatives like me and you are concerned about, the $37 trillion debt. We're not near enough. I do think that this bill basically freezes spending. I think that the opportunity for growth is immense. But we've had multiple talks with the White House. Look, we need to come back a second and third bite of the apple for more cuts in spending. We have rescission bills that we need to work on. So Rome was not built in a day. We're not going to fix the budget issue in a day. And by the way, I got a new budget bill that we're releasing as well to improve that process. So it's an uphill battle, but I think that the benefits of this bill outweigh any risk.
I agree with you, Senator. I mean, look, the process of making legislation is consensus. Now, we have a unique opportunity with reconciliation only having to get to 51 in the Senate. That's obviously very significant. But, we're not going to get to perfect. It's not going to happen, not in a legislative body where you have to reach consensus. So I think this is a move in the right direction, not perfect. There's some things in the bill I don't like. There's some things I really like in it. But that's a part of the give and take. And I know a lot of people don't like that. But they don't understand the legislative process. And I would say this bill is moving in the right direction. Does it get us all the way? No, it doesn't. But as you said, it is a step in the right direction. I do want to, before I go to international issues, I want to ask you one final question on this because you're a doctor, a medical doctor. What's your take on the current state of Medicaid and that's in the bill?
Look, I'm proud of the work we're doing in Medicaid. We're increasing the spending on Medicaid faster than the rate of inflation. We're going to increase spending $200 billion a year. We're going to strengthen Medicaid. We're going to preserve it for those who need it the most. So we're going to preserve it for senior citizens, for people with disabilities, for children. And I think we're going to kind of come behind this with a little grant money for some rural hospitals and community health centers as well. Tony, you know this, but Medicaid does not guarantee access to care. A third of doctors don't accept it. At least another third delay access. I mean, I'm as you said, a practicing OBGYN. I had a patient. She needs to see a neurologist. She needs to see a neurosurgeon, a cardiologist. It would take 6 or 9 months to get a Medicaid patient into those specialists. So Medicaid's not the answer. I think there's better solutions out there, and I'm working on this Make America Healthy Again situation. And I think these giving bigger grants to community health centers, addressing primary care, addressing the nutrition issues, that's the path to victory for healthcare for this country.
And if we don't do something to address the rapid expansion, it's not going to be there for those who need it most.
Yeah, it's that simple. We've increased Medicaid's funding 50% of the last 5 years. And as I think about that spending, 90% of it is going towards chronic illnesses, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, depression. Depression is now one of the top in incidence numbers, but also just an expense for it as well for the prescription drugs. So we need to address this chronic disease epidemic if we want to address the cost of health care.
Well, after running through all that, I'm a little bit depressed myself. Senator, we're out of time. Thanks for joining us. Always great to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Tony.